Press no.
Here we are, a brand new house yet again. We're in
House fuck.
I don't even know where are we in Arizona? I don't even know what this place is called.
Scottsdale, I believe.
It's like Scottsdale adjacent.
Yeah.
But anyways,
technically Scottsdale.
It's been a very eventful last 7 days, but I think the pinnacle of it all is Mike got his nails done. Look at that. What made you want to do that?
Well, I was having a little spiritual conversation with my mani-pedi lady.
Because you're typically a manicure guy in general, just getting like the maintenance.
Yeah,
stuff.
I wouldn't even say typically. I've probably gotten I'd say I probably had 10 my whole life, but I'm getting more on that wave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into the self-care, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say self-care oriented. I was probably my worst the last 3 to 4 months. When I say that, we're in Nashville, which is a party, and then also just finishing the album. And it's a strange feeling when you're like close to finishing an album and you have a deadline. It's like the only thing. You just eat, breathe, sleep, even in your head. So, it almost felt like I did a lot of the spiritual or just self-work. I did a lot of it in lead up to prepare me for that phase. Because I'd say I've meditated the least, read the least, just even, working out, taking care of yourself. Just those endorphins you get from taking care of your body.
Mm-hmm.
I got that the least probably I have in the last 2-3 years, in the last 3 months or so. But my point being is that I've done, I think I did a lot of the legwork and I was kind of okay and prepared for it. Like I didn't, usually in the past, if I don't take care of myself, I don't feel as great, where I felt great and I was focused on getting what we need to get done. But yeah, I had a self-care day the other day, first one in a long time. Spa day,
Mm-hmm.
a little massage, a little facial, and mani-pedi. And then I was telling her she was asking about my necklace, and she said she loved that. I was like, yeah, I dropped the blue one. I just dropped that album. And I was like, you know what, go ahead and paint me a nail.
She didn't talk you into it for an upcharge?
No, there was no upcharge. Actually, I didn't check the bill. Maybe she did. She didn't strike me as one of an upcharge type of gal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But caught a great wave, and just said, go ahead, let it fly.
Fantastic. Well, we're in this really cool new house for the next couple weeks. We just announced a contest yesterday, which we should probably talk about a little bit.
Yeah, the Like Blood one.
For
right?
Like Blood, yeah. It's another opportunity. We haven't done it in a while, but another opportunity for fans to come hang out with us at the ranch here in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get into a groove. I think this is going to be the final one before we introduce this to our Only Steves, where if you're a member, you're entered into the raffle, and we bring a group of fans out once a month. But this is something we wanted to do, is to activate the song. One of my favorite songs on the project, but I just think it's a great opportunity to kind of celebrate your friends. And what better way of celebrating our family and friends? I mean, the Steves are definitely part of our family and a friend group for sure at this point. So what better way to kind of celebrate it is have them come out, and we'll have them star in the music video. And really the only way they enter is just by posting it, correct?
Yeah.
Posting their own video.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you want to see the nuts and bolts of what you have to do to enter, just go to Mike's Instagram. There's a post about it. But essentially, you're just making a little 30-second video of you and your friends, putting the song Like Blood behind it, posting it on Instagram and TikTok, and we're just going to pick the best one. And it's all happening really fast. This is Wednesday when this comes out. We're picking a winner by probably Monday of next week. The contest ends Sunday at midnight.
I like my contest nice and fast.
Yeah. And then I believe August 21st is when we're going to fly people out.
Yeah, we're going to, another little decent cross promotion is I'm actually going to perform some songs on the 21st for the first time ever, and as Mike. We're doing an album release party. Over in Scottsdale at Casa on Mill Street, which is over near ASU.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the party we're going to fly y'all out to come. Whoever wins this contest will come party with us and live that whole experience as part of the group. it'll be fun.
So the 21st, that's not the casa in Old Town. That's the other casa.
Yeah, it's the other.
There's two casas.
Yeah, I think it's Casa. It's slightly different, but same family.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if it is. Maybe I'm making that up, but I know it's a Casa, and I know it's on Mills. I don't know if it's Casa Migos. I don't know, but it's on
What
Mill
school is
Street.
that near in Tempe?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. Is that the fun one? ASU is the fun one?
Sure is.
Then U of A is where all the dorks go?
Jimmy Tatro went to U of A.
Sorry, Jimmy. I just know one like is academically a little better than the other.
I wouldn't even call either of them academia powerhouses, but they're both fun. But Arizona State's like notoriously like for a long time just been like super fun place,
A lot of fake tits coming out of those schools though.
which we have to tip our hat to. A little golf clap.
Fantastic. Well, the main thing that's happened in the last couple of weeks is you put an album out. You finally got a response from fans. We saw the reception as far as like the charts on Spotify and Billboard and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So do you want to give us the rundown?
Yeah, I mean it was It was kind of exactly what the doctor ordered. You know, we were. There's no exact time. It's just kind of like a knowing, like I was ready to do it and ready to let it fly, and I just gotta tip my hat to the fans for staying patient, staying with us, and that was the strongest reaction I've ever gotten. And I knew that, you can't know for sure because you never know, but we were so kind of normalized to this sound I'd been working on, and just so ready to share it with other people. But it's an interesting point about divine timing and like that understanding is just like when you know kind of thing. Like if you're trusting, like I never really picked a date or anything. It's just kind of like even the whole concept of the trilogy and the highs, the lows, and in between, all that came what I would consider like the wee hours of the night. Like this was late in the process where like all of it came to fruition. I was just kind of making all this music, and I knew I liked it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I want to do it this way, and this amount of songs, and like now I had this whole trilogy idea, and because I had my head down, making so many ideas and songs, that it feels feasible and doable, and it makes a lot of sense, and it was nice to, honestly, internally, it was nice to watch it all unfold and kind of go our way, and also just a tip of the cap to like, the ideologies that we talk about in regards to just trusting the timing and trusting your gut instincts. Because I feel like I made some of my favorite songs in the last 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, answer me this: would you have been able to come to that conclusion or done this type of project if you were signed to a record label?
Absolutely not.
Because of the deadlines.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had to turn the album in. Yeah,
a year ago.
I would have to turn the album in fucking 7 months ago, and I literally made the chunk of this album in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
You got to understand, this is a trilogy. I have a bunch of songs like for the other albums too. So, I was just making so much music, and I mean, I was making music. I made Still Works, which is the best performing song out of the new ones that weren't leaked. It's the best performing song right now. I made that 7 days before I turned the album in. I started it. I got that beat. I just had an idea, made the whole thing, started it, heard the beat for the first time 6-7 days out. Turned it in. I loved the song, turned it in. It's probably the only one I didn't have any time to like live with at all. As I'm living with the album and like, it's uploaded for 4 or 5 weeks before it comes out, I'm like, fuck, I want to change something. So I'm literally like, we're in Austin, like the album's coming out in 9 days, and I'm like changing shit on the music.
It's Kanye status right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of doing my own version of that, but Ditto as a partner has been great. Shout out Chris Mooney, who really like kind of heard me out. My conversations with labels and companies is pretty interesting because I'm not really having normal conversations that they have with artists at all, coming from a managerial side, business side, and he's the only one that like just like, yep, I get it, I hear what you're talking about, I think I can help you, we'll be a part, and blah blah blah. So Ditto really helped us because I wouldn't have been able to do even the upload and the iTunes thing we did and the whole rollout that seemed very very well thought out for not a logistics company. Ditto was a big part of like helping us execute our ideas on the fly. So
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to the fans, man. We got our number one moment in the sense of like we were first half of first week on Spotify, solely because we focused on Apple and iTunes, and then Spotify we didn't focus on, but we got that midweek number one. In regards to just new, I think it was
Debut albums
debut albums. Yeah.
for that weekend or that week.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know. I'm not even in that game and know the numbers, but it was nice to get those as a brand new artist. Because obviously to y'all, I'm not a brand new artist, but as Mike, yes. So, proud of the group, proud of myself, proud of the fans. I'm proud of Mr. Steve, but proud of the execution. A lot to be proud of, but at the same time, there's it's just another day. When you're doing, we definitely sent it for a few weeks and had ourselves a bit of a celebration. But did it really feel much different than how we were living?
Nope.
Yep. Doing the same thing, and there's a lesson in that. I had a good question. Somebody messaged me about like I want to say I sent it to you as a question for this podcast, but he basically was saying like, when you have a big victory, how do you handle with the come down?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I sent it to you because I remember I really liked that question, but I really felt myself navigate those feelings like very quickly this time around, because it's a real thing. When you put a lot of time and there's a big build up and then it comes and it goes. Jimmy Tatro on his podcast talked about.
He talked about when he was on the Kimmel show, and he thought in his mind that it was going to be this big thing, him being on national TV on Jimmy Kimmel late night. And then he said all it was is he just went there, he did it, and he drove home, and he didn't feel any different.
Mm-hmm. And that could be scary for people, And that I've gone through my own version of that many times. And it comes down to gratitude and perspective. I just shifted towards that because, it is a week goes by. My fans have just been so amazing with this. Like, really, I can't tell you enough of the reaction in my messages and fan mail and, all those outlets that fans, social media that reach out. Y'all have really made me feel appreciated on this, so that's really helps with that. But at the same time, like, it's a perspective thing. You're detached from if you really truly are detached from the results, then that eliminates that. Because it's not about that like voila moment. It's just like it's all part of the journey.
It's about loving the process.
Yeah, the process was just as fun as the fucking results. It really just genuinely was, and I could say that's a first for me.
The outcomes are just a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely.
You love the whole ride. The outcome's just a bonus.
Absolutely. It's really just not even an outcome. It's just another place.
Mm-hmm.
It's another vantage point that we made it to, and that's the outlook,
Yeah. Well, the fans asked a bunch of questions about the album. We asked them about a week ago, and let's get through some of them. Aaron asks us, was there any new challenges that you encountered when you were working on this particular album that you haven't experienced before?
Challenges.
And more so, just like how do you explain like the difference of making this album compared to past ones?
It's all down to creation approach. I've talked about it on this podcast a bunch, but I'm approaching it from a very free, paint against the wall, non-micromanagement place.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first album where you recorded yourself?
I recorded this entire album myself.
Yeah. That's probably the first one, right?
Yeah, and I made this entire thing in my room. The room was moving, but this was a bedroom-made album.
So that has to be the biggest difference.
That is.
And if like a great example is when Billie Eilish got really big. A lot of people don't know, she made her first big album with her brother in their childhood house in this tiny little bedroom where like it's so small you can't even stand up in it. There's just a bed and then there's a desk and there's all like the gear and everything. And they cut the whole thing there. Just the two of them.
Yeah, I've talked about this a bunch. But
that's not the norm.
Yeah,
like the norm is you're in this big studio and there's engineers and producers and
writers and
there's nothing personal about it to the artist really.
Yeah, fuck that shit. I mean, I talked about this. I want to say in one of the last few episodes. It's been a while, but just like the day and age of like going to a studio. I made a post about this while we were in Austin about like I posted The View. I made that song and I was just like, I made one of my favorite songs here yesterday in an hour. And the days of me ever being in a big studio and overpaying, putting a time limit and a cost price tag on my creativity. And, going into the studio, just think about the idea of like, oh, no, I'm going to be creatively inclined and inspired tomorrow at 4 p.m.
It doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's a bad approach. It's an outdated approach.
So there, I haven't seen the whole episode yet, but one of the newest episodes of Dave, I think he takes some type of psychedelic and he goes into like one of those like water chambers, and
Float tanks?
and in it he confronts his ego, and his ego is just like him bald with like a diaper, and he confronts his ego about like who he should be and what he should be doing. Mm-hmm. And bro, it is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, shout out Lil Dicky, man. Fucking that shit's, I fuck with his show.
Yeah, but the point is like when you're like down to the bare bones of just you in your room by yourself, 3 a.m, maybe a little high.
Mm-hmm. Hey, buddy.
And you're just catching a wave and something hits you.
It's me, man.
It's so different than like showing up to an appointment at 4 p.m. in the afternoon and there's like 4 people there and
everyone's going through different things in that room. Everyone's trying to, make a name for themselves or what have you. There's just so many different factors, right? And
not to say that you can't make a good song that way, but it's not going to be
totally.
It's not going to be as personal, and you're not going to be as vulnerable in your message as you could have.
Yeah, and I think that's the best part of my music.
Exactly.
Personal, vulnerable, honest, unique.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the first 4 words I think of.
Yep.
I'm not the best technical singer, but I'm not even fucking close, I definitely have a gift with like words in my own way, but I told you, like, it's literally, these songs are like moments in time in my life.
Yep.
I remember what inspired them. I remember where I was when I made them.
Yeah.
And no one else could have made these songs. No one else can sing them,
Mm-hmm.
Let anyone sing them. All the best singers in the world, wouldn't sound the same.
Yep.
Wouldn't feel the same. And that's been my favorite part of the reaction to this album. I feel like everyone understands. They totally understand. Like, they're just like, yo, this is you. Like, and this is how we've felt about it for so long, So it's been really nice to feel connected to the listener. Because I've felt very disconnected in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Killing off Mike Stud, not being able to really, let people know what was going on for a while. I was in between the record deal with, record deal possibilities with a huge artist,
Mm-hmm.
friendships intertwined. There's just a lot going on. And I felt there's a disconnect. The podcast really has helped bring back that connection and fuel that connection. And I think the podcast arced perfectly into this music.
Yeah.
The
thing that really hit it for me is when we were making the documentary, which is available on Only Steve's now if you want to see the 42-minute Life Got Crazy documentary.
One of the best things we've ever done.
It's really dope. You can sign up at onlysteves.com for $5. That's my pitch. I'm going to keep going. But what really hit it for me is when I was making it, and obviously we're going to score the documentary with the album because that's what it's about. It clicked to me right there where I'm like, oh yeah, the last 2 years is the album.
Exactly.
And I'm starting to put the music over the moments.
And they're perfect.
And it's like, it fits exactly right.
Yeah.
You listen to songs like Days Go By, and you're talking about it's hard for me to stay in one place. And it's going over the section where we're leaving LA and we're moving to all these different places. And it's like, oh yeah, the music is exactly what happened.
We literally don't know where we're going, but we do know why.
Yeah.
Like, we know there's more out there. We know what,
That's why I highly recommend the documentary, because then it's really going to click for everyone, because you're going to see down to the T the exact story of what has happened the past 2-3 years.
Yeah, man, I can't. There's not 1 ounce of a lie or even just like embellishment in regards to when I say this album is literally the soundtrack to our life. It is, and in hopes that it would be the soundtrack to y'all's, the listeners' lives. Because yes, our lives are very radical and weird, but these are basic human, transitional teenage to 20s to midlife, all these journeys and tribulations and developments humans go through.
Yep.
you know, kids nowadays, people nowadays, you know, and I'm really, as I said, the reaction has just been really fulfilling. As much as, you know, I say it wholeheartedly, like, I like it, so it was coming out the way it was coming out, you know, but for the fan base to click with it the way they have has been really, really fulfilling and just like a tip of the cap to us following our instinct on the whole thing.
And a breath of fresh air that a lot of music today is, a lot of popular music today is leaning negative, sad, negative.
I'm off that.
Where this, I mean, it's called The Highs. All of it is leaning positive. You don't see a lot of positivity in music today.
Yeah, no, I refuse. I mean, I literally made a decision about 3 years ago. I think it was maybe a little less than 3 years ago, but I wasn't engaging with negativity on social media. Anything involving my name going forward will be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck put anything else out into the universe, you know? Why attract anything else, you know? And why not inspire as much positivity as you can? I mean, I really believe that. That's the best impact you can make on someone, is to impact them positively and make them feel uplifted.
Mm-hmm.
And the highs again, are for celebrating the good times, but they're for so many people reached out to me like, I needed this. I was down, you know? And then when we get to the lows, which will come next, the lows aren't going to be some depressed music. It's going to be a guide of getting out of navigating the lows.
So with that, this goes into this question. Alex asked us, this being a 3-part trilogy, the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, what order should we expect it in? And when are you planning the next drop? I know we just got a ton of new stuff, but I'm vibing so hard, selfishly need more.
Yeah, I mean, the lows, the way I saw this in my head, I mean, this was a meditation development, part of why I preach meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But I was meditating and I kind of landed on this whole trilogy idea. And the highs were that, you know, that's how I developed my first deadline, because I was cruising without a deadline because I don't believe in them. And I didn't want to do that to myself unless I knew I had a reason. And I created a deadline because the highs are the summer. Sun's out, fun's out.
Guns out.
Guns out, you know? And, you know, what do you want to listen to? I mean, I would go out on the boat. We've been traveling, doing fun shit, and I would feel like, I don't know, if we wanted uplifting, fun music, we had to go back 10 years. You know, whoever was on the aux had to go back 10 years, like, or had to, like, pick and choose out of a small group of songs that, like, uplift you, and nothing really modern and new, as you just said. I mean,
unless it's country or like select EDMs.
Yeah. Not to say they don't exist, just like, especially in the hip hop genre.
Yeah, I'm talking about pop and hip hop.
Yeah,
it's just not really existing.
Yeah, it's not. It's all about like being brokenhearted, and like, and I think there's, you know, love is what it's all about. You know, life is all about love in its own, all of its forms. So
I think what my friend Mike's trying to say is that true love is blind.
No one's gonna get that, but cut to it. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it was such a no-brainer to go with the highs first, and it was such a no-brainer to drop it in the summer. So as I like literally arrived at that like at the beginning of the summer. So I was like, fuck, I hit Foley. I'm like, yo, album needs to come out before reasonably, you know, ASAP in the summer, but I still got to work some things out, and I'm working on music still.
And now you can see it on Instagram. People like, it's the soundtrack to their lives now. You know, like when they're on a boat, they play Blue Water. When they're hiking, they play Mountains. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fun to watch people kind of doing exactly what I was hoping they would do. Just like live their life to it, you know. And the lows will come next. I mean,
how would you explain the lows, vibe-wise?
Is
it going to be sad music?
It's still going to be. It still needs to be developed, but there's a bunch of great ideas, and I mean, this is going to be a winter. You know, cold out. You know, when you can't leave the house a bunch, and it's a lot of people are dealing with, you know, the grays, or the gray is what Johnny called it in the About on Live episode, like just dealing with the gray every day. And it won't be sad music. It will feel less uplifting generally than the highs. but this is almost the grittier side of life. Like when you got to grind through the problems and the heartbreaks and the unfortunate things that come with being alive.
Yeah.
And it's like, the way I see it is like almost a guideline of navigating that. It'll probably feel a little harder, you know? It'll feel a little harder in like genre, like, you know, it will just feel a little, it's not gonna go soft, sad. It'll be like, this is how you bully through these highs. You know, this is how you bully through the lows to get back to the highs. Yeah, perseverance is a good word. Keep going. Think about what keep going means, really. And then, you know, the highs, the lows, the in-betweens make up keep going. So this whole thing is a guideline to keep going. And that's just how I'm like crafting it and writing it.
I fucking love it. Well, only one of these questions about tour. Maybe we can just give an update on what the deal is with that, when it's going to happen. And then Robert asked, how much of this album and older Mike Stud songs will be mixed in at the concerts?
I would definitely we'll mix and sprinkle in some Mike Stud classics. These Days, Swish probably.
But for the most part, you think it's going to be all new music?
Yeah, I think These Days, Swish, Mirrors on the Ceiling will play.
Yep.
You know, those are really high performing songs for me.
Yeah.
And then the rest, like by the time we're actually on a real tour, like there'll be a whole other album out. You know, there's talking about 40 new songs as Mike. I mean, I was just looking. I mean, I've put out I've put over 30 songs as Mike now.
Yeah.
In just about a year and a half, I put out 30 songs. And then there's a bunch more coming. So, we'll focus on the Mike stuff, but it's not like a disregard for the past. You know, there's no vibe. There's no vibe like that. It's a celebration of the past too, but it's just like I'm gonna play the music that I want to hear now, fresh music, and quite honestly, like there's a bunch of new fans, a bunch of new listeners that are happening and going to be happening. You know, this is just reaching like a new market, or at least rekindling. You know, I've had so many people come up to me in public recently, just, man, I love the new album. You know, I hadn't been listening for a while, shit like that. Just my overall notoriety is definitely going up from this album. My point in saying is, you know, the new stuff is what's going to be focused. We don't have any details on a tour. I will say, getting our ass kicked a little bit out there in the streets, because I'm an independent artist, and everyone hasn't toured in a year and a half. You know, from COVID, every artist hasn't toured, so everyone's trying to tour. And it's pretty difficult for an artist of, you know, without a label backing or without, you know, really established 2,000, 3,000 person venues. Like, this is something where we need to be patient, because promoters and working it out with my agent, like I wanted to be touring soon, but it looks like we won't tour until 2022.
Do you want to save 25% on the most essential supplement on the market? John Kilmer here with Liquid IV. Now, unless you've been living underneath a Dwayne Johnson, you've probably heard about Liquid IV. We've been talking about them for about a year now. Probably the most consistent supplement that we've been taking at our house for the past year and a half to 2 years. And that's because it is a hydration multiplier supplement. What does that mean, John? Well, if you take one of these Liquid IV flavor packets, they come in wonderful flavors, by the way: watermelon, apple pie, guava. Great for the summertime. If you mix one of these flavor packets right here into a bottle of water, it is the equivalent hydration of 2 to 3 bottles of water. So what does that mean for you? Well, say you just ripped it with your buddies at the weekend, and you wake up Sunday morning, you get in the Sunday scaries, you're feeling like absolute dog shit. Mix one of these flavor packets into a bottle of water, you're gonna feel like $1 million. Let's say you're at the gym and you just ripped a fucking killer workout, you're hitting the treadmill, you're fucking hitting the free weights. You're feeling a little malnourished afterwards. You mix one of these flavor packets into a bottle of water, you feel like $1 million. We've been using it for a very long time. We absolutely love Liquid IV. So we have a tremendous offer for you today. If you go to liquidiv.com at checkout, use promo code YNK, you're going to get 25% off your entire order. You can also get these bad boys at Costco. If you go to Costco, you buy them in bulk, but you're going to get 25% off if you go to liquidiv.com. Use promo code YNK at checkout and get 25% off. Tell them Steve sent you. Do you sell products online like we do? Well, if you do, I'm about to blow your balls off with this information. John Kilmer here with ShipStation. Now, if you know anything about us, you know we sell tons of products online, whether it be Chug Buds, merchandise, Stevenson Ranch, you name it. We're constantly shipping stuff out to people every single day. If you have an online business, I highly suggest you check out ShipStation.com. Now, ShipStation is a fantastic tool for taking in all your orders, printing out your shipping labels at the best prices, and it is just the best way to stay organized. It's compatible with pretty much every platform. We use Shopify, and when we get orders, it's just the orders come in, you press a button, the shipping label comes out, you put it on the package, you're good to go. So not only is it convenient, but you get the best rate. This is the best part of it. You get the same rates that Fortune 500 companies get on shipping, no matter how big your business is. We're talking about FedEx, UPS, USPS. You're getting the best discounted rates. We've saved so much money on shipping from using ShipStation, so I cannot recommend them enough. If you sell anything online, whether you're on Etsy, Shopify, whatever, if you're selling anything online, you got to check out ShipStation. And we have a tremendous offer for you today. If you go to shipstation.com and click the little microphone up top, you're going to use promo code YNK and get 2 months for free. That's 2 whole free months if you go to shipstation.com, click the little microphone up top, and use promo code YNK. And what's that? Oh yeah, tell them Steve sent you. All right, well, let's move on. How many songs, lost a lot of good men out there. How many songs did you have at the start to narrow down to the 23 that you have on the album?
Yeah, I mean, there's about 50 ideas that I like.
Yeah. Fun fact about the Beatles, for every album, they would make like 200 songs.
Yeah, I mean, I've made over 200 songs.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 50.
Yeah.
50 ones I'm really fucking with.
Had a shot.
Yeah, I'm fucking with them, you know?
Yep.
It's been I've definitely hit a creative, I mean, I don't know if it's a threshold or if it's, you know, just elevation and vibe or frequency or whatever it may be, but I definitely think it's also just like a threshold of crossing those 10,000 hours as an artist. I feel very comfortable and confident in what I can do. Like, it just takes diligence because no one's helping me. You know, like I'm literally organized. Like people don't understand. Like I'm organizing the songs. I'm freestyling. I'm going through. I'm highlighting what I like. I'm editing it. Then I'm just kind of recording and punching in lyrics like as I hear it. I'm like reverse engineering songs and doing it. And I'm working on like 10 at once. And I'm doing business and all the other stuff we do, the podcast, everything. So it takes like when I talked earlier about being like unhealthy, because it took that level of like, more or less completely immersed in the music and immersed in managing the music and producing the music. Like I produced on a lot of these songs, you know, helping just with writing the melodies in general. And that was also a first. Like I handcrafted this music with 3 different, you know, producers. I would say Charlie, you know, all these guys bring their own.
I want to, we'll segue into this because I have to clear the air on something. The second part of this question says also one for Kilmer, finally, are any of the guitar parts in the album from you? And this has been a huge misconception, but I feel like I just got to clear the air. As much as I love to take credit for shit I didn't do, did not play any guitar on the album.
Yeah.
So why don't you just let them know who actually played the guitars?
Yeah, it's Charlie Handsome, who's one of the more talented guys walking on the planet in regards to production, songwriting, just fucking.
You're talking about a guy that's worked with Khalid, Morgan, everyone, a ton of people.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, like a very, very wide-ranging group of, you know, Kodak Black, Juice WRLD, you know, Kane Brown, tons of people on the country side, on the rap side. I mean, I literally went to Charlie in Nashville when I first met him, and the guy is like notoriously a hard ass, like just is, but he's like the man, you know. But he's just like brutally honest and like doesn't give a shit if you can tell that he doesn't like what you're doing, like you know what I mean. And when I went to him, I didn't really have any of this music yet, and he's like, you know, we had a weekend in Nashville, and he's like, hey, I don't really like your music, but I like you. You're good. Fuck with you. And at this point, I was telling him about the sound that I wanted to create and how I didn't even ask him to work because like I knew there was going to be I had to earn that, you know, in regards to just presenting him with dope songs and dope ideas and shit. And I mean, yeah, we got basically that's how I've gotten in a lot of the doors. People fuck with me as a person, and then that's how Post heard my music originally, just from being like homies, you know. And yeah, that's just how it went. But couldn't think of a better guy, and I'm very proud of, you know, accomplishing what I accomplished with the production and finding the right guys because I had to manifest it myself.
Speaking of Charlie again, I mean, someone like you just said who's done things on the country side, done things on the pop side. Could you really pick someone better to produce your sound?
And on the real urban side too.
That's what I meant. Sorry, but can you pick a better producer?
No.
Who can really get your sound any
Not
better?
even close. Yes. I mean, because my whole idea was like, I love the guitar. I love the way the guitar feels. It's just something. This does something to me, you know. When I it just brings out the best side of me musically, I think too, and I love country music for that reason. And I had this idea of creating like legitimate, great, you know, catchy guitar riffs and merging them with like urban, modern bounces, like all the bounces that everyone loves nowadays, you know.
Well, see, a lot of people are doing that, but what separates yours is the guitars are leaning very country.
Yeah, for the most part.
You know?
That was kind of my whole idea. And I knew I was the only one that could really make it. Because it's very hard to do country-ish rap and merge them and not be completely cheesy.
Agreed.
That's why no one does it. But think about it, who else is gonna do that? This is me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am that. Like, kind of look more like a country guy, act more like a country guy, you know, get along, like those are the guys that gravitate towards me. You know, Post kind of, you could even argue, is like kind of like a classic country guy, the way he acts and drinks beers and smoke, you know, just that whole, it's just who I am, you know. And then obviously, innately, I always had like I loved to rap, always could. I just had that was my initial gift, you know. So I'm proud of the way we've created the sound, and that's why it sounds like a sound. It sounds like it's all one thing, you know, almost like one. That's why it feels like a real album, like. You know, it's because it's a sound, it's consistent. And I didn't want to do anything else. And it's pretty rare. No one's really doing it like that. They're kind of treating songs as their own standalone, you know, products. Versus I really definitely wanted to make the highs all feel like one page. Every page was part of the chapter, you know?
Yeah, it sounds super cohesive. This is the fun. I actually don't know the answer to this. What state did you fly over when that picture was taken for the album cover? Foley took it.
That's a Foley question.
Foley took it.
We were coming from Florida.
And it was taken on his iPhone, right?
Yep.
Which is crazy.
And you want to know another thing? Our flight was canceled the night before. We were supposed to be out of there. And we get to the airport and they cancel it. And instead of bitching, we were like, fuck it. We went back to the Ritz. Caught a vibe.
Could be worse.
Yeah. You know, remember the days when it was the fucking Holiday Inn, you know? I remember saying that to him. I was like, hey, let's go back to the Ritz.
So he took this on the ride back from Florida back to Nashville?
Yes, and we shouldn't have been on the flight with any chance of that picture happening. We were supposed to be on the night flight. So instead of bitching about it, we went back, had a great dinner, chilled, smoked, got high on the balcony, went to bed, woke up the next morning.
Got an album cover.
Got an album cover.
Wow. What would the album cover would have been if it wasn't that?
I don't know. Shout out to Foley.
Would have just been the portrait of you, just like this?
Just me, like me as part of the Blue Man Group. Like that's the blue. That's the blue circle.
Would have been terrible.
Would have been the worst.
Another question I don't know the answer to. Biller, maybe his just name is Bill, asked, how did Mike lose his voice before making You Can Tell? fun story of that. Mike actually lost his voice when he recorded that. That's why it sounds like a completely different person.
It does.
It's happened. It also happened to Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, if you notice when he sings the song "Dream On," I don't know if you know that song.
Yeah.
Famous song.
Dream on.
His voice in that song sounds nothing like the rest of his music. If you really listen to it, it sounds like over the years I thought it was two completely different people.
Interesting.
And something happened with that as well, where he
Yeah.
something was going on with his voice for that one song and ended up being one of his
I mean, to
biggest
be
songs
completely honest, like most of the original vibes of these songs when I'm on a wave. And like sometimes I like the way I'm sounding so much that I'll like, even if I have to re-record it, I'll try to like match that same vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like Two Birds, I made that shit on a wave. It was like 6 in the morning.
Yeah, let's be real. When you recorded, you can tell probably 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
I
was just gonna say, that was like, I lose my voice if I'm on like a bender, like if I haven't slept in like a day or two and we're just like partying, working,
yelling
partying,
over the music.
Yelling over the music, going to the bars, coming back, playing beer pong, losing money, winning
Smoking,
money. Look at the baby, look at the baby.
Smoking woods, doing
I'm
dips.
I'm chain smoking backwoods. Poor Versace's rolled up 10 blunts. I'm like, for whatever reason, I get these like second winds in like the early morning.
Chain dipping, lane switching.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin. But yeah, I mean, I was another, like, that was really cool. It was like, I mean, I learned this a while ago, and I was just like, yo, it's all about the vibe for me, bro. It's not about singing it the best I can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like the songs that people are like, I mean, if someone has a beautiful voice, yes, of course. I'm just talking about, like, for me, I'm not even looking at it like that. Like, I'm looking at it all about how it feels and how it sounds to my ear. That's it.
A lot of artists, and I've seen this with a ton of artists, where they'll record like scratch vocals, like when they write it, and they'll do it a certain way, but it'll be rough, and then they'll want to redo them cleaner, so that it sounds like just a little more clean. And then when they redo it, they can't even come close to capturing the original vibe when they first.
See, like
recorded it.
I take that original recording every time if I had to pick.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's also because I'm not so submerged in the songwriting pop music world where like there's a recipe and everyone takes it like a corporate approach to music. I just don't, you know? I really don't. I don't think that's, I feel like I'm more in touch with the average person than most artists. And I know that the average person is not hyper-analyzing the music. It's all about how it makes them feel. They're not like, ooh, I don't know if that's the best take on that fucking line. You know what I mean? He could have sang that better. It's not. No one's thinking like that.
It's the subconscious je ne sais quoi of like, this song sounds fucking legit. It sounds authentic, but I don't know why. That's why.
Yep.
Because of the mood that you're in when you did that song.
And in the same way that like, you know, your ear also subconsciously can catch when something's very well produced and very clean and dope. Like there's definitely, I get why people chase that.
Yeah.
Because it gives it that stamp of approval, like the production quality.
But with the stuff you're saying in the lyrics, if you're not coming off authentic with the way you're saying it, it's not going to work.
It doesn't even work.
When you're talking about the whole club being faded from the smell,
I should sound like that.
No one's going to believe you.
Because I've been chain smoking backwards.
No one's going to believe that the club is faded from the smell if you're not saying it right.
Mm-hmm. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
When I heard that, I'm like, that club is faded by the smell.
Yeah, and they can all tell. Jack talk Thai real well.
You can deal with that. Oh man. All right. Well, let's one more question before we wrap this up.
All right.
Actually, I don't know the answer to this either. Blake asked us, how did the switch up on the back half of Mountains come about? The song is a jam.
You know that. You know the answer, kind of.
Kind of, but like this was a last minute thing. We don't have to get into the whole story of Mountains from the start to the end, but this was very last minute. What was it, last week before you turned the album in? You just put in like a 2.5 minute outro to the song.
I put a 2.5 minute outro on it. It was probably 72 hours before I had to turn it in.
So why'd you do it?
I was just like going through and finalizing records. I always had like, that's the most fun part when the songs are like 95% done. You're like, ooh, how can we make this better? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep.
And I was also zooming out and looking at the project and just like wanted to make sure the songs were dynamic enough, different lengths. I actually was really thoughtful about how the songs roll into each other. Like I kind of wanted to make it like a wave. Like if you look at Keep Going here, the tattoo and the authentic first logo of Keep Going is a wave.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to make like even what the lyric content was, like it would go like in and out of each other, like, you know, and kind of giggity. But you know what I mean? Like if you really pay attention, you go back and listen with this in mind, like sometimes you'll even hear me like repeat a notion. Like on song 6, when song 7 comes around, like I'm referencing something in song 6.
That's fire.
Yeah, and like I actually really took time to like kind of make that make sense. Not overdo it, because you don't want to be a dork about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like I like those little synergies that you can create by like being thoughtful with it. So yeah, I mean I was finalizing the songs. My guy JP, man, young kid, Connecticut-based kid, he's a fucking rock star, and super happy and very lucky to have kind of gotten contact with him and built with him when I did, because I literally produced like the album out with him. Like I would just be there like helping. I don't play instruments, but I'm kind of, he would bring a bunch of great melodies, but I would be able to kind of from here just be like, ooh, I like this one. Why don't we go here with this one?
Steer the ship.
Yeah, and like I never got to be able to steer the ship in my previous arrangements of creating music. I'm getting beats from people, the ship is already steered.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Working with Louis Bell, that was kind of where I needed to branch out. We both needed to. It's just like you make music one way at a certain time for so long, like you're ready for something new, you know? But I didn't know, at that point, I didn't even know how to articulate what I wanted. I didn't even know what I wanted truly, you know? So this was just a fun experience to produce out and have JP as one of the partners on it for sure. He came on late in the project and became a focal part of it. Also shout out Mason Sachs and Hosu. Those guys, I've had them by the house in LA.
Yeah, Mason plays a lot of the guitar as well. He's an incredible guitarist.
Yeah, he played on about 7 or 8 of the songs, I think.
He's an incredible guitarist.
Yeah, like one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's was just fucking. I mean, I had a really balanced team in regards to producing it out. But Mountaintops, yeah, I was just like, what the fuck what does Mountaintops say? It's like about being high on life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's no, really, humans can't go any higher on foot than a mountaintop, you know? So it's like, how do you feel when you get up there? What does that sound like?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in the first half of the song, I'm talking about the mountaintops, and in the second half, I'm just like, we made it to the mountaintop. This is what it sounds like.
Is Mountains a love song?
Yeah, but it's not necessarily about a love song like with a girl.
You say the song "Go Somewhere with You."
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. So it's a love song, but it's not necessarily about like this one girl you love. It's like being in love with your life, you know? Love with the people you have, your friends, your family. Like, you know, I want to go somewhere with you and connect and go to, you know, I'll shout it from the mountaintops, meaning like that's kind of a saying like I want everyone to know. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hide that. It's about like embracing love in general, really. Like if you love something and you love someone, get on the mountaintops and say it, you know? That's kind of what it's about for me.
Veronica Corningstone and I had sex. Did I just say that out loud? You practically yelled it.
That's hilarious.
That's basically that's that song. Awesome. Well, that's all our questions. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, we are going to ramp up on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say with the YNK Plus, premium on Only Steve's. We're gonna start ramping those up again.
Yeah, I mean, look, we kind of found ourselves balls deep in album rollout. We still have a lot of work ahead of us. We're gonna create a bunch of visuals for you guys, obviously within our vibe and the way we do things, but just appreciate you guys bearing with us because we weren't, we kind of had to focus up on just the rollout and getting it out and finishing it and handling the business surrounding it, which like you're looking at, Kilmer wears a lot of hats and he's not capping. So does everyone, really, you know. So, he's doing admin work. He's doing a bunch of shit. Everyone's kind of. I wasn't really available emotionally, mentally to do podcasts.
Sexually.
Yeah, I wasn't available sexually either, really.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's we made it through the fire, and then we're gonna ramp back up on YNK and Bottom Lie, and keep it rocking. We're in a good spot. We've made it through the fire and I think it feels like we're on the other side of, we've been holding that nut for a while. Let that one fly, and now we're back to normal.
That nut.
Yeah.
Speaking of nuts, if we go any longer, my shorts right up any higher. We're gonna have to censor out half my nutsack, so we should probably
Let's end there.
end there.